There's a version of busy that feels productive. It looks responsible from the outside. You're showing up for your clients, you're delivering on your commitments, you're serving on boards, in my case, contributing to your community, building your reputation in the right rooms. And while all of that is happening, something else is happening too. Your pipeline is going quiet, not because you stopped caring about your business, not because your marketing stopped working, but because the one thing that actually fills a pipeline, consistent, intentional, proactive selling, got quietly pushed to the bottom of the list. This episode is for every business owner who has ever looked up from a season of genuinely good work and thought, where did my leads go? Because busyness is not a business strategy. And the most dangerous kind of busy isn't scrolling or distraction. It's the meaningful, worthy, important kind that quietly starves your pipeline while you're doing everything else right. Welcome to the Digital Success for Business podcast. I'm Leanne Cohens, founder of Marketing Leap, and for over 13 years I've helped business owners navigate the constant shifts in marketing, from strategy and systems through to the moments where you have to stop, look at your own business honestly, and make some hard decisions. And in this episode, that's exactly what we're doing, because it isn't just a topic I've researched, it's a pattern I've lived, and one I see repeat itself with business owners across every industry, every revenue, and every stage of growth. We're talking about why 90-day marketing plans fail, not because they're badly written, not because the strategy is wrong, but because life, commitments, delivery, and the very real demands of running a business get in the way before the plan ever has a chance to work. If your pipeline has ever gone quiet during a season where you were, by every other measure, genuinely busy and genuinely productive, stay with me, because what I'm about to share might be the most important thing you'll hear about your marketing this year. Here's what nobody talks about when they discuss why marketing plans fail. It's rarely the plan itself. Most business owners I work with have solid instincts. They know what they should be doing. They've sat down, mapped it out, set the intentions. The 90-day plan exists. The content calendar is built, the offers are clear, and then real life walks in. For me, that looked like two board positions, secretary of one organization, president of another. 9.5 years of showing up, contributing, serving, genuinely meaningful work. The kind of commitment that builds your reputation, your network, and your sense of purpose outside the business. But here's what those commitments also did. They filled the hours that should have been protecting my pipeline, the thinking time, the outreach time, the proactive selling time that doesn't feel urgent until suddenly it's all that matters. So I had to let one go. And I'm not alone in this. I see it constantly with business owners across Australia. The school board position, the industry association role, the community project that kept expanding, the client delivery that quietly consumed every available hour, all of it worthy, all of it important, all of it real, and all of it, if you're not careful, a very convincing reason to delay the one activity that actually keeps a business financially healthy, filling the pipeline. Because here's the pattern I've watched repeat itself more times than I can count. A business owner has a strong year, referrals are flowing, clients are happy, revenue feels stable, so the focus shifts. You invest more in delivery, you take on the board role, you say yes to the podcast, the speaking gig, the community commitment. You go deeper into education, into content, into building your authority profile. And the referrals, as it turns out, are not a pipeline strategy. They're a reward for past work, and rewards have a lag. By the time referrals slow down, you're already 3 months behind. So let's talk about the 90-day plan itself, because this is where most marketing advice stops short. Everyone tells you to build one. 90 days is manageable. It's focused. It gives you enough runway to see results without the overwhelm of planning 12 months ahead. And all of that is true. But there's a fundamental flaw in the way that most 90-day plans are built. They're designed in a vacuum. You sit down, usually at the start of a quarter, full of clarity and good intentions. You map the content, you set the revenue targets, you outline the offers you're going to activate. The plan looks great on paper because on paper you have control over your time. Real life doesn't work that way. Real life has a board meeting that runs 4 hours longer than it should have, or deliverables that aren't normally within the scope, a key client who suddenly needs more support than anticipated, a team issue that pulls you sideways for a week, or a personal commitment that simply couldn't be moved. A season of delivery that's so intense that marketing becomes the thing that you'll get to when things settle down. And things really settle down on schedule. So the plan sits, the content doesn't go out, the outreach doesn't happen, and the offers don't get activated. And somewhere around week 6 or 7, you look at the plan and feel behind before you've even really started. That feeling is not a motivation problem, it's a design problem. Most 90-day marketing plans fail because they plan for the ideal version of your availability, not the real version. They assume a consistent block of focused marketing time every week. They assume your energy levels are stable. They assume nothing unexpected will land in your lap. And they assume that once the plan is built, the hardest part is done. And it isn't. The hardest part is protecting the activities that fill the pipeline when everything else is competing for your attention. And most plans have no mechanism for that. No minimum non-negotiables, no clear hierarchy of what gets protected when time gets tight. No honest accounting of what your week actually looks like versus what you wish it looked like. Which means the moment life accelerates, and it always does, the plan becomes aspirational instead of operational. And aspirational plans don't pay the bills. This is the part that most business owners miss, because a pipeline doesn't empty overnight. It drains slowly, quietly, and by the time you notice it, you're already 2 or 3 months behind where the problem actually started. So let me give you the early warning signs, the ones that show up long before the revenue does. The first sign is that your conversations are all delivery and no discovery. Every client interaction is about the work in progress. Nobody new is in your world. No first conversations are happening. No strategy calls are booked. No inquiries are sitting in your inbox waiting for a response. When every conversation you're having is with someone already paying you, that's not a sign of success. That's a sign that your top of funnel has gone silent. The second sign is that your content is going out, but it's not connected to an offer. You're posting, you're showing up, the podcast is live every second Wednesday, the LinkedIn article goes out every Sunday, but none of it has a clear, direct, this is what I'm selling right now energy. It's all awareness, all education, and all value. And value without direction doesn't convert. It simply builds a very well-informed audience who never quite gets around to booking that call. The third sign is that you're measuring activity instead of outcomes. Impressions are up, follower count is growing, the podcast downloads are ticking along, and you're using those numbers to reassure yourself that the marketing is working. But activity metrics and revenue metrics are not the same thing. One tells you that people are watching, the other tells you people are buying. And if you can only report on the first one, that's worth paying attention to. The fourth sign is that your last few clients all came from the same source, referrals, or one particular platform, or one particular relationship that keeps sending work your way. Single source pipelines feel stable right up until they don't. And when that one source slows down, there is nothing behind it. No second channel warming up, no nurture sequence converting, no outbound effort generating new conversations, just silence where the leads used to be. And the fifth sign, and this one is the most important, you know exactly what you should be doing to fix it, and you're not doing it. Not because you don't care, and not because you don't have the skills, but because the doing of it, the direct offer, the outreach email, the post that says, here it is what I sell and here's how to buy it, feels uncomfortable in a way that's hard to explain. So instead, you plan a little more, refine the strategy document, tweak the content calendar, add another workbook to the lead magnet library, and the pipeline keeps draining. Recognizing these signs early is not about self-criticism. It's about having the strategic awareness to catch the gap before it becomes a crisis. because the businesses that grow consistently aren't the ones who never lose momentum. They're the ones who notice faster and correct it sooner. So what does a marketing plan actually look like when it's built for real life instead of ideal conditions? It starts with one fundamental shift in thinking. Stop planning for what you want to do and start planning for what you will protect. Because the difference between a marketing plan that works and one that sits in a Google Doc gathering digital dust isn't the quality of the strategy, it's the clarity around what is non-negotiable, regardless of how busy life gets. Let me give you a practical way to think about this. When we work with clients at Marketing Leap, one of the first things we do is separate marketing activities into two categories. There's the work that builds your brand over time, and then there's the work that fills your pipeline right now, because both matter, and they're not equal when your business needs revenue. Brand building is the content, the podcast, your YouTube channel, LinkedIn articles, educational posts, that work that compounds over time. It builds authority, it attracts the right audience, it positions you as the expert in your space, but it works slowly and it works indirectly. Someone listens to your podcast for 6 months and then books a call. That's a real outcome, but it's not a reliable short-term pipeline strategy. Pipeline filling activity is different. It's direct, it's specific. It's uncomfortable for most business owners because it requires you to say clearly and without apology, here is what I offer, here is who it's for, and here's how to take that next step. That means the direct outreach email to past clients, the LinkedIn post that says, in my case, fractional CMO availability is now open, the follow-up message to the inquiry that went quiet 3 months ago, the offer activation post that names the thing that you're selling and asks people to book. Most 90-day plans are heavy on the first category and almost entirely missing the second. And when life gets busy, brand building content is the first thing that gets protected because it feels like marketing. The pipeline filling activity disappears completely because it feels like selling. And selling feels pushy or presumptuous or like you're admitting that your business needs help. And here's the reframe. Selling is not a sign that something is wrong with your business. It's a sign that something is working in your marketing. It means that you have an offer worth talking about, an audience worth talking to, and the clarity to connect the two. The most successful businesses I work with don't wait for referrals to restart. They have a minimum weekly rhythm of pipeline activity that happens regardless of how full their schedule is. Not a full content calendar, not a complex campaign, a minimum. One direct offer post per week, one outreach email per fortnight, one clear call to action attached to every piece of content that goes out. That's it. And when things are flowing, they do more. When things are tight, they protect the minimum. And because the minimum is small enough to be non-negotiable, the pipeline never goes completely silent. The second thing a real-world marketing plan needs is honest time accounting. Not the time you wish you had, the time you actually have. And in my case, running 2 board positions, managing a full client load, producing a fortnightly podcast, and showing up consistently on social media, the available marketing time is not the same as someone with a clear diary. And a plan built for a clear diary will fail every time it meets your actual week. So before you build the next 90-day plan, do this first. Map your actual commitments for the quarter. Non-business meetings, client delivery, team management, travel, personal commitments, everything. Then look at what's left. That is your real marketing window. And your plan needs to fit inside it, not the other way around. The third thing, and this is the piece most marketing plans completely ignore, is a trigger system. Not a review date at the end of the quarter, a weekly check on one number, which is how many conversations did I have this week with someone who wasn't already a client. That's it. One number, one question, every week. And when that number is 0 for 2 weeks in a row, something in the plan gets adjusted immediately. Not at the next quarterly review, not when the revenue drops, now. Because catching the drain early is the difference between a 2-week correction and a 3-month recovery. So let's bring this together. A 90-day marketing plan doesn't fail because you're not smart enough to build one. It doesn't fail because your strategy is wrong, or your offer isn't good enough, or your content simply isn't landing. It fails because the plan was built for an ideal version of your life that doesn't exist. It fails because brand building got prioritized over pipeline filling, because the uncomfortable act of direct selling got quietly replaced with more planning, more content, more refinement. It fails because of busyness. Even the good, meaningful, worthy kind has a way of consuming the exact hours it should be protecting your revenue. And here's what I want you to take away from this episode. You don't need a better plan. You need a simpler one. You need a plan built around your real availability with a clear non-negotiable minimum of pipeline activity every single week, and one honest number you check in with every 7 days. How many new conversations did I have this week? That question will tell you more about the health of your pipeline than any analytics dashboard, any content calendar, or any 90-day strategy document ever will. Because growth doesn't come from planning, it comes from consistent, intentional action, even in small amounts, even in busy seasons, and even when it feels uncomfortable. Strategy first, tools second, and selling always without apology. Now, if you're listening to this and recognizing your own business and what I've described, that's not a coincidence. This pattern shows up in almost every business I work with at some point, and it's exactly the work that we do through the Marketing Leap VIP Strategy Intensive. In 4 focused hours, we look honestly at where your pipeline is now. We identify the specific gaps between your marketing activity and your revenue. We clarify your offer, your messaging, and your priorities for the next 90 days. And we build a plan that fits your actual life, not the version of it you wish you had. No fluff, no overwhelm, just clarity and a clear path forward. And if that sounds exactly like something that you need right now, head to marketingleap.net and book your VIP Strategy Intensive. The link will be in the show notes and in the YouTube description if you're watching this on video. And before you go, make sure that you're subscribed on your favorite streaming platform, because in the next episode, we're shifting into the solution side of this conversation and even more depth. We're looking at how to build a marketing system that doesn't depend on you being constantly on, constantly creating, and constantly selling from scratch. A system that works in the background even when life gets full, because that's where real, sustainable growth lives. I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Digital Success for Business podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and follow us on YouTube for even more tips.